All right, fellas, we just saw Ben's face off against Morrell, and I got to say this one definitely lived up to the hype. And what was one of Ben's more challenging bouts of his career, we saw him secure a tough for unanimous decision victory. This bout, though, has raised more questions than it answered, although Benavidez did secure the victory. Questions about where he goes now remains, and how would he even do in these potential fights. So I want to break down the fight that was and talk about what could be in the future for the both of them. But just before we get into that, though, if you love everything boxing, you found yourself in the right place. My name's Kloster, and I make videos on everything boxing. So to stay informed, make sure to subscribe now. This fight flew under the radar of a lot of people. I don't know if it was down to the marketing of it, but this card just didn't draw the attention. It deserved a card with a return of Pitbull, one of the best fights possible at featherweight. Why the best light heavyweight fights possible? How didn't it get more hyped than it did? I don't really understand. Yet both Benavidez have been on a collision course set to face each other since both moving up to light heavyweight, with the winner of this bout set to challenge for the undisputed crown. Neither fighter looked fantastic in their last fight, and we're both coming to this fight incredibly confident based upon their opponent's last performance. This event did have a pretty good undercard, as I said before, but I'll break down more of it over the next couple days. Yet from the start of this fight, it looked instantly like it wouldn't be a walkover for Benavidez. Many who hadn't seen Morrell fight before his last performance have missed out in seeing just how skilled Morrell was through this first round. He absolutely showed his skill. He looked fantastic. He was sharp, fast, managing the distance. Well, it looked like he had the perfect game plan. He was talking a lot of trash before the fight, calling Ben's RoboCop. So I was expecting him to be moving on the jog and angling. Well, he did that for the first round and a half, and Benavidez was really just trying to figure out how to approach it. Yet then he just stopped. He started standing in rage and trying to trade with Benavidez. If you're watching a live stream, you probably saw me complaining about exactly this pretty much from round 3 onwards. The middle rounds were just more of this. Not angling, walking straight into Ben's shots. He did have some shots break through, but Benavidez was walking him down, landing the better shots most of the time. Morrell was simply falling into Ben's game plan, although Benavidez did start to tire, and this was a major concern before the fight. Morrell did have a little bit more success because of this, but Benavidez tiring simply wasn't enough. Morrell did have a bit of a win by dropping Benavidez in the 11th round with a flash knockdown, where Benavidez was a bit off balance, but he ended up opening this momentum instantly by hitting Benavidez after the bell of that round and getting a point deducted. It was pretty stupid, and that was pretty much all the fight. Benavidez got the unanimous decision victory and is now in line for a shot at the throne, but it raises a bunch of questions aside, from whose next one major question being, is Ben's power incredibly overrated? And I say potentially. The thing is, he picked up his nickname, the Monster, because of his scary power generally against lower ranked opponents. But he did have a few highlight knockouts against decent competition. The last few fights has really put his power into question, and this fight kind of put the cherry on top of skeptics. Even when Morrell was basically standing in front of him, he couldn't really hurt him. Morrell was taking his power comfortably, and Morrell only just came up from 168. It's not like he's fighting a true light heavy who's been at the division for ages. I think the question really shouldn't be, has he lost his power? Yet more so, does he have the power left to challenge either Bivol or Better Beeve with Better? That is a battle of the power, a true firefight. But would Benavidez have the power to knock out Bev? And does Benavidez have the chin to absorb Beve's power? I don't know about that. And with Val, he's going to do what Morrell should have. He'll have an ultra-disciplined game plan, constantly moving and angling. I can't see Benavidez getting through the discipline and perfect range of Bivol. He's going to be in and out, and Benavidez is going to have a tough time getting him on the ropes like he did Morrell. And even if he does, Ball's guard will be hard to penetrate. Of course, this discussion does lean into what could be next for Benavidez, although not set in stone. I think an undisputed shot will be there if he wants it. Benz was talking in the post-press about how he wants the fight to be in Las Vegas. If the undisputed fight does happen, if he truly wants a shot, he might not get the luxury, and he certainly won't be there, aside for the fight. So he doesn't have much of a leg to stand on. In terms of negotiation, it all depends on how Fed 22nd will go. Turkey wants to make Bivol Benavidez, and of course the Better Be fighter is in the mix. I think it'll happen at some point, but the question is it next or is it the fight afterwards? If it is afterwards, I think a likely bout is against the winner of Smith versus Boadi. And this all depends if Benz goes down the SA route. If he doesn't go down the SA route, I genuinely have no idea who else there to fight on the PBC roster not to. Many unless he moves back down to 168, which I doubt. I think before I can make a solid guess, we got to see how February 22nd plays out. Just to mention, I don't think that Canelo fight is ever happening, and this performance by Benavidez doesn't fill me with confidence heading into a potential bout. I see Canelo countering him all night long, yet it hasn't happened yet, which makes me think we'll probably never see it. Also, I don't know where the rumor came from, but in my stream chat, people were talking about how Bennett was moving up to cruiserweight potentially to verse zero. That just won't happen. Bennett has debatable power at light heavy. He has no chance at cruiser unless it's against some no-names. Imagine Benavidez against Opaya, no chance at all. Then there's what's next for David Morrell. The thing is, against Benavidez, he should be applauded for chasing greatness. But did he take this fight too early? Was it too early for the bright lights? Well, potentially what this fight did, which was a positive, is make him a bigger name. He's now a more common known name to the casual fan that should find him in bigger fights down the road. There won't be a rematch anytime soon, so we can wipe that off the list. But I think he is well placed for his future at only 27 in a division where a lot of the other top fighters are older. He will be a future world champion. Yet tonight just wasn't his night. He seems to have a good team which gave him good instructions from the corner, yet he seemed to kind of listen to it. I don't know if it's a discipline problem, but either way, at least he has some good people behind him. He could easily find himself in some mega fights. We could see him against Anthony Yarde, soon the loser of one of the fights from the 22nd card. Maybe a sad event against a fighter like Zad. He has many opportunities at his feet, and with PBC already showing them more than willing to allow him to fight on a Saudi card, he's in a great spot even with the loss. Also, I gotta say big up to all you fellas who rocked up for the live stream. It was a great time, and I honestly can't wait for the next one, which will be for the Con Davis fight in a couple weeks' time. So make sure look out for that. Now I want to hear